What is going on, everybody? It's Matt Marchese, also known as Islanders Daily, your home from everything from the four-time Stanley Cup champions, New York Islanders. On today's episode, we have a lot of fun things to talk about. We got a new documentary coming out for the New York Islanders. We have Matthew Darchin and Noah Dobson, little athletic interview that went on with Darsh where he explained everything that occurred. We have UBS potential. I really want to talk about what's going to happen at UBS in the future for some of these games. And then we will have our Jonathan Drouin outlook for the season. So to get things started, we're going to be talking about this new docuseries the Islanders are creating. That's right. The Islanders have just announced a documentary where on Instagram they posted it. They said, "New era, new success. On the Island is our unprecedented docuseries that takes you behind the scenes of the New York Islanders." This is super exciting. This is something that we as Islanders fans have never seen. And we thought we would never see. When we had Lou Lamoriello, there was no information being released whatsoever at any time. You were finding it out the second it happened. Now we get this whole new update where we're getting a docuseries from the Islanders where we'll go behind the scenes. If there's any Jet fans here, think of it as the One Jets Drive show the New York Jets do. This is what we will be seeing with the New York Islanders, and they'll be breaking things down behind the scenes. We're going to see everything occurring behind the scenes. So it should be really, really exciting. And episode 1 drops on September 10th, and it's exclusively on the Islanders YouTube channel. So be sure to keep your eyes open. Be sure to look for the Islanders channel, and at 7 p.m. on September 10th, it will drop. So I'll be sure to be tuned in. I'll definitely talk about it in the episode that next day. And yeah, we'll see everything that occurs. So I'm really excited to see this docuseries. This is something that I never thought would happen in Islanders history. Going from Lou Lamoriello, the closed door, that door's closed at all times. We never heard any news or anything. Now we're getting a full-blown docuseries from the New York Islanders. And this truly is a new era of Islanders hockey. So I'm really, really excited to see how this series is going to play out. Okay, going on to our next topic of the day, we're going to be talking about Darsh and Noah Dobson. That's right. This is an interesting one because that trade's happened a while ago, but Matthew Darsh just had an interview on The Athletic where he explained everything that went down, and it was really an interesting read. I'm going to try to explain it as much as I can with all the important parts, but if you do want to hear more about it, be sure to read it on The Athletic. But it really started where Darsh said, he had to learn this from the general manager in Tampa Bay, Julian Brisbois, and he talked about there's something, that's what he learned. You have to take emotion out of the decision, right? You can't be emotional when you're making your decisions on your team, on your players, or anything. Yes, you can like these people. Yes, these people are part of the team, essentially part of your family. But at the end of the day, it's a job, right? It's a job. And clearly, Darsh, another interesting point in this is he had a threshold that he was not willing to go over. Yes, that's right. Darsh had a threshold that he wasn't willing to go over. He talked things through with the agent of Noah Dobson, Judd Moldaver, and Moldaver thought Dobson was clearly worth more than Darsh thought. They communicated, and it didn't happen. It did not happen. Now, I do think that Dobson was asking for $11 million from the Islanders, which is an insane price to ask for with how Noah Dobson played defensively. That was just crazy to me. But yeah, it's something that Darsh talked about, and we haven't really seen this because the Islanders have been such a family team in the past where they didn't want to lose any of their players. They wanted to keep the same team. They wanted to run it back constantly. But here with Darsh, we see waves being made, right? He got here on the island, and the first thing he did was a hard decision. You had Noah Dobson as an RFA. It was a tough decision. And he made the decision that, hey, this is my threshold for what I'm willing to pay you. They went back and forth, him and Dobson's agent. He then finally decided that, hey, I'm not willing to pay you this. I'm not willing to, and we will trade you, and you can try and get it somewhere else. And he said he learned that from his time in Tampa Bay, where those decisions, we see Tampa Bay as a team, they were doing whatever made their team better at the end of the day. And that's something Darsh brought here, and I really, really like that. And he's also gone on a little more. He says it's been exciting. He's been fortunate to be given this opportunity and stuff. But now we'll talk a little bit about Dobson and what losing him does, right? He was only 25 last year. He's only going into age 26 season here. Last year in 71 games played, had 10 goals, 29 assists, 439 points, which is average. It's not bad, but Dobson himself defensively was so infuriating, man. It was so infuriating watching Dobson play defense. And some of the decisions he made was just, like, I was dumbfounded. I think Dobson really struggles with his hockey IQ. I think he is offensively talented, yes. I mean, the year before in 23-24, he had in 79 games played, he had 10 goals, 60 assists for 70 points. He's definitely an offensively talented player, but I really think that his fundamentals and hockey IQ is lacking. And I don't know. So I really like what Darsh did. He had a line that he was not willing to go over, and he didn't. Now, Dobson, I think he'll do great on Montreal because that's a team where the defenders are really offensive focused. I mean, look at Lane Hudson last season. So I think Dobson will be good there, but I definitely don't think it hurts us in the long run losing Dobson. Yes, some could say that he was a really good, player for us, but at the end of the day, I know a lot of Islanders fans on social media wanted him gone and everything about that. So I think Darsh was smart. He made a great trade. I really like that trade. I've talked about it numerous times on here, getting Heineman, the 16th and 17th overall pick. And yeah, so it was just a fun read hearing him say that he had to take the emotion out of it, and he had a threshold, right? He had a threshold that he was not willing to go over. Now, our next topic is going to be talking a little bit about UBS Arena. And as we all know, we were supposed to have the All-Star game there this season, and unfortunately that was canceled. I mean, I don't know why we kind of went back to the All-Star game format after the success that we saw prior with the, World Cup of Hockey going on, where, that USA-Canada game, it was getting people watching it all over. I don't know why we went back to the All-Star game, but we did, and of course it was at UBS, and of course it got canceled, and instead now we're doing some kickoff event there, which honestly is just a waste of time, if I'm being honest. I know the Islanders aren't happy about that, losing that game. I know Gary Bettman did announce that we'll host a 2027 All-Star style event. Hopefully it's, the nations again. Hopefully we'll get a couple good games there between, who knows, USA, Canada, something like that. That's hopefully what they'll go back to. But I don't know. But with such a new stadium and such nice facilities and everything growing, I know the Islanders have also talked about, John Collins was hopeful that they'd be able to host an outdoor game at Belmont Park on the racehorse, on the, horse racing track and everything. And I think that would be really cool. I've seen a game there. I mean, it's right outside, right next to the stadium. The problem comes with seating. I don't know how it's going to work. I know they're redoing that whole Belmont Park right there. So we'll have to wait and see till that's finished and see what they'll do there. But, yeah, it definitely stinks for the Islanders to lose that All-Star game and then get given the kickoff event or whatever it is. It honestly sounds like a whole lot of wasted time. I don't know why we're doing this. If you were going to cancel it, just cancel it outright. Why waste our time with an all-star kickoff event where we send the people to Milan in Italy for the Winter Olympics? It really makes no sense. And I'm just so confused about that. And now we're getting a 2027 all-star style event. That's what it's been called. We have no information on what it is at this time, but it will be something. I don't really know what, but I'm hoping that it's something good. And I think at this point in the NHL, they should probably just get rid of the all-star game and go with, that World Cup of Hockey that we saw. So going from there now, today is our Jonathan Drouin outlook on the season, and a new Islander, a new face to the Islanders. He signed that 2-year, $4 million deal with us. I really like that deal. I think that's a good deal short term. Drouin will be entering his age 30 season, so he'll be 30 and 31. And he's somebody with that 2-year deal. I don't know if it would happen this season, but next season, if you're struggling out of the playoffs, he's definitely a player who can get you something at the trade deadline. Now, I hope he won't be a trade deadline person. I hope we'll have a successful season and everything where we can keep Drouin for those 2 years. And if he shows out and improves, hopefully we can sign him even more. But I like the short-term deal for Drouin. He's a solid player. Last year in 43 games with the Avalanche, he had 11 goals and 26 assists for 37 points. Year before in 79 games, he had 19 goals, 37 assists for 56 points. And he's kind of done that his whole career. He's struggled to play full seasons. He's struggled to stay healthy. That's a problem for Jonathan Drouin. But I really think Drouin on that first line has potential to be a very solid player. I could easily see a 40-point year from Drouin. I don't think he'll do what he did on Colorado with us. I just don't see how that is a possibility. I mean, Colorado had much more talent on their roster where Drouin was able to, get those point assists where he was able to hand it off to McKinnon, McCarr, and all that stuff, where he was able to get those points. Now, I don't think he'll be able to do that, but I think we'll see a very solid Jonathan Drouin if he's able to stay healthy. Now, if we go back 3 seasons ago on his final year in Montreal when he was 27, in 58 games, he had 2 goals, 27 assists for 29 points. Now, we know Drouin is not a goal scorer. He's only scored 20 goals, over 20 goals once in his career, and that was back in 2016 and 17 when he scored 21 with the Tampa Bay Lightning. So Drouin will not score 20 goals this year again. He won't. That's just out of the cards. I think he will give us potential with feeding the puck to Horvat and all that stuff. So I do think we will see maybe a 12 to 14 goal season from Drouin and maybe about 20 to 25 assists. And I think that would be a successful season. Now, it really depends. It's hard to really decide what Drouin's stats will be. He's such a difficult player to try and gauge on what the stats will be, depending on these line formations that Patrick Waugh will go with in the future. Now, I do think Drouin can easily put up about 42 points this season. I think 42 to 47 points is kind of the mid-range for Drouin. I would say the floor for him would be about 28 points, and a ceiling would be like 57 points. I don't think Drouin will go any higher than that, and I don't think Drouin will go any lower than the other one I just stated. So I think we will see about a 40-point season from Drouin. It's so tough, though, because Montreal, he just could never stay healthy. In 27 games, 15 points. In the other, in 44 games, he had 23 points. 34 games, he had 20 points. So he just really struggles with staying healthy, Drouin. So if we get a healthy Drouin to play a full 82-game season, I really think he could put up 40 points this year. But if he can't, be on the lookout for, what I said in those 20-point ranges. But I think we'll get a solid Drouin. We'll get a solid player who is worth the $4 million. Now, as always, I thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to comment any ideas you guys have that you'd like me to talk about in the future. And as always, let's go Islanders.